Hello, crafting buddies. I noticed yesterday that my camera seems like it's pretty far away, and I had such a mess going on. Whoa, now I have it like way too zoomed. There's like not a simple way to get it just a little bit. Someday I'll figure it out. So anyway, I guess this is the view we're going to get. Hello there. This is Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. And it is Saturday night, May 17th, just a couple of minutes after 11 o'clock. So I was kind of putzing around because I'm going to have some folks over tomorrow, and I need to finish getting those cards prepped. And I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking, oh, it's like 10 to 11. I should get things ready. And I didn't have another card quickly prepped that I could share, so I figure I'm gonna break into this beautiful blues kit because it looks absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a look. Beautiful blues. There's some foliage, and I love the fonts on here. You're in my thoughts, wishing you comfort, and sending love. It comes with a Night of Navy ink spot. So let me go get a Night of Navy ink pad because that'll be a little easier for me. Get that. And let's open this little kit up here. I was able to see this, a sneak peek, at the Midwest Demonstrators event in Hobart earlier this month, and I had seen, I think we saw a preview at On Stage too, and I knew it was going to be really pretty, kind of like the Delft blue things, you know, like plates and that sort of thing. And I just thought they were really, really pretty. So let's see what we get in here. We get our Stampin' Spot. We get the stamps. We get a block because this is a kit. And the nice thing about the kits collection is that everything you need to create the projects is in the box. So here's basically a D-size block. I'm going to use my more ergonomic one because it's got the grooves in it, and I mentioned the other night that I have some neuropathy issues in my two fingers and my thumb from time to time, and the block with the grooves in is just easier for me to handle. So I'm going to save this other block for when I have classes and I need more equipment, more tools. And then we get, oh, some very narrow tear and tape. I was going to bring out my own, but you can see how much thinner it is. So I'm guessing it's because of that laser cut piece. So let's see what else we have. We've got some gems, and these look to be just faceted. It doesn't look like there's gold in them. It looks like they're just kind of, I don't know, like shimmery, but faceted too. So those are quite pretty. And then you get basically like a half sheet of dimensionals. These envelopes are beautiful. So 3, 6. So this will make 9 cards. So those flaps are good. There's nothing on the inside but the flaps. I don't like to have naked envelopes, so that's perfect for me. So we'll set those off to the side. And then I can see this came from the bottom. Here we go. So here are some laser cut pieces, and I'm just going to show you here. That is beautiful. We'll have to see if we have anything to stamp on there. It doesn't look like it, but you've got roses and maybe some poppies in there, a variety, and some foliage. Those are beautiful. So there's 3 of those. So obviously we're going to make 3 cards with that. Then this card These are going to go with that. So there's 3 sheets of these other laser cuts. So sometimes I'm able to pop them out all at once, and then I don't have to touch it 3 or 4 times, however many cards are being made. So there's these 3, maybe. There we go. So there's those 3. I'm going to set those with those, because just looking at the picture, I can tell that's where it's going to go. And then this piece looks like it's going to go with that card. So it looks like it pops up behind the sentiment. These have a little bit more detail, so be careful when you're punching your things out. They're not held on by a lot of pieces, just enough so that they don't kind of fall out. So there's 3 of those, and that will go with the white cards. Let's see how this is going to look. So we've got, looks like this one is probably going to go here. We'll see. And then this one, oh, this is so pretty. It's on both sides. So that's going to be for this one. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to want to cut these apart and use this for another card. We'll make one the way the instructions say. So that'll go here. This is going to go with this card also. So it seems like there's a lot of pieces for the laser cut floral card. And the sentiment is going to go on here. There's also a line around here, so we'll have to see. There might be other pieces for that. So looks like I'm done with these. Make sure there's no pieces left behind. This will go with this card. So these look like they'll go here. Get that out of the way. And then let's see what some of these other pieces. Oh, here's the outline pieces. So with this, the way the foliage is designed with this bigger piece, that's so your sentiment has a good place to adhere to. So we'll get these punched out. When I do my kits, I like to just get all of my parts and pieces punched out and kind of divvied up, I guess. So we get 3 sentiment pieces plus a spare in case we mess up. So there's 4 of each of these, but we only make 3 cards of each. So this one's going to go here. So there's an extra one for each piece in case we mess up really bad. And then this one will go here. And that's all of the parts and pieces ready to go. So that didn't take me but just a couple of minutes to get those done. So let's open up our little instructions here. So the instructions are color as well. If you've never worked with a kit before, it'll go through and show you what you need for each card. All right, so for this one, we need the card base, we need the foliage stamp, we need this foliage background piece, the sentiment that says "You're in my thoughts," and some of the gems. So let's go ahead and put this on a block. And then I'm going to take some Versamark because that's what I usually do with my new stamps. And I'm just going to rub some Versamark on here and let that kind of settle in. Okay. Versamark is a dry or a slow drying ink, so it makes my photopolymer stamps just a little sticky. And this is kind of hanging off the edge, so I'm just going to move that a little bit. It makes my photopolymer stamps just a little sticky so that the ink can adhere to them a little bit better. All right. So the other thing I need is this leaf piece. And you can see that I put my sentiment on my block diagonally. I do that on purpose because I would rather look at my image to get it lined up rather than rely on my block edges. And if I have it slightly crooked on my block edge, but I'm going with this, it's going to be crooked on my card. I would rather look through at the sentiment and line it up that way than rely on the edges of the block, if that makes sense. All right, so that's ready to go. And then this card will use, this one will use this sentiment piece. There is, oh, these do go over here. This goes with this one. The picture was a little deceiving. And this says wishing you comfort. So that'll be this one. And I'll put a little Versamark on that as well. And then that's it for that. That'll only need the sentiment. And then this one needs just the card. Oh, we did that one. This one needs just the card, the laser cut background, the floral piece, and this piece. And then we need Sending Love. So I'm just going to put that on a little block. And we'll do a little Versamark there as well. Okay. So we will set this off to the side. So when you first open up your instructions, this is the layout of each of the projects and what the supplies are that you'll need. Okay. Then when we open it up all the way, we can see card 1, card 2, card 3. Okay. So let's just fold this way. We're going to work on this card. So let's move these out of the way. I'll get my snips put away. And we will need our Pearson mat. So we are going to, on here, stamp the You're in My Thoughts. That's the first step here. Hopefully you can see that. So the first step here, let me move these over here, is to do the sentiment. So I'm just gonna lay these out. And I don't want to lose these plastic pieces because that's what my stamps will go back on. And we're gonna do Sending Love. And I'm just gonna do a light tap. I don't want to squish it and get, oh, this is the wrong one. I don't want to squish it and get lots of ink in there. We want You're in My Thoughts. So sometimes when I'm doing classes, and I've done it even on here, I will suggest to people who are not real experienced that they just take their ink and tap, tap, tap on the stamp instead of going like this or squishing or even pushing it down hard with the ink pad from the top. Because when you get too much ink, it reduces the clarity of the image. So that didn't come out very well on the top. So let's make sure that I have that all inked up. And I usually hold my stamp on for a few seconds to let it absorb. Hopefully this will do a little bit better. That did better. And it could be where I had it on my ink pad maybe is running low on ink and I need to re-ink this. So if you're not getting a good image, you might have too much ink on your ink pad, because sometimes if they're too juicy, it affects the image. Or your ink pad might need to be re-inked. or you might need the pad under the photopolymer, or you might just need to have a steadier hand when you put it down. All right, so I'm gonna just try something. The nice thing with the photopolymer blocks or the photopolymer stamps is that you can see through them, and if you're good, you can line them up. And this looks like somebody has double vision, so that didn't work out so well. But sometimes, especially like with floral images and shapes, you can actually make it look quite nice by stamping on it a second time if you get it lined up. But these three all turned out good. So let me get my Pearson mat out of the way, and let's go to the next step. All right, so this stamp is going to go on the card somewhere. Maybe that's on the inside. Looks like that's on the inside, I guess. So let's pull this back, because it doesn't really look like it's on the outside at all. It's not. So let's go ahead and kind of decorate the inside. And I'm going to just stamp this and see how I like it stamped off. So let's do one of these at a time. And I'm just going to stamp, and then I'm going to stamp off. So there's one. And it's nice with the photopolymer stamps that you can see through them to see how much ink you have. So that one I'm just stamping in a different area. And this one will stamp again here, maybe here. So a little different each time. And I'll clean that later. Close up the ink. So our next step then is to put some tear and tape on the back of these pieces. I'm going to get this out of the way so we can see better. So let's do some tear and tape. And I was just going to do one of these, but I started prepping all three, so I guess I'm doing all of it. And actually, I just put the tear tape on the wrong side, because this is actually showing the tear tape on the front, because we're going to put this here, and then we're going to put on the back of the whole thing dimensionals. So let's try this again. And I'm not going to worry about the tear tape that's on the back of there. It won't really matter. So sometimes I just don't pay really close attention to the instructions and mess up a little bit. But it's fixable. So we'll work it out. And this doesn't really have to be lined up any particular way, because that floral piece can go, or the foliage piece can go several different ways. There we go. All right, so now we can put some dimensionals on the back of here. And I'm going to use a sheet that I already have started. And I'm using the edges just because they work really well, just as well as the full pieces of dimensionals. And you may as well use every part that's available. Okay, I just need a few more on here. I'm going to use up a couple of these old sheets. It's always nice to get rid of some debris. And then now, let's go ahead and get these prepped. These are bone folder. Quick and easy card. So beautiful though. I love just the blue and the white. Gorgeous. Yeah, I guess this is probably, I mean, that looks a little silly there, but that's probably the best placement for it, which is why they designed it that way. So when you need cards in a hurry, the kits are an awesome way to go. I'm going to put that one up there. And then we need some of these gems. And it calls for 3 of them, and it has it basically here, here, and here. I'm going to tuck one under there a little bit. And these seem like a lighter blue, but when you put them on the other blue that's here, it's a really nice accent. I would not have thought that they would have really coordinated, but they do. Those are kind of far apart, I think. There. If you don't press them down really hard, they're pretty easy to move. My putty got a little flattened out here. And this one goes up a little higher, so we'll tuck this one under here. All right, our first 3 cards. So that's that one. So pretty. And of course, if you wanted to bling it up a little bit more, some little Wink of Stella could highlight those flowers there. All right, so card number 2 coming at you, and that's this one. And so that I don't mess up and do all 3 of them again and take too much time, we're just going to do this one. I'll just pull off those pieces. And we're doing Wishing You Comfort. So that is indeed this one. And I really like this font. Very nice. And that is the only thing we have to stamp here. And then this piece looks like it's going to go like this. It could go either way. No, it can't really go that way without hiding part of it. So, like the instructions show here, we'll put tear and tape on the front this time. And I mentioned the other day when I use my tear and tape, I like to put it on my hand, and it helps control how I'm unrolling it if I have my hand in it. And I'm left-handed, so I'm not real coordinated with my right hand for a lot of things, but that helps me control. I do really well with the adding machine with the numbers on the side there. But that's about the only thing that I'm really capable of with my right hand, being left-handed. So now it's calling for some dimensionals on here. So we'll put one in each corner. That's what it calls for. And to me, this is almost a shame to have that hidden on the back. So when I do the other two, I will be cutting that in half and making more cards with it. Okay. So we are almost done with this one already. And they have this just down here. Very pretty. And then some more of the faceted gems here. And it looks like they have them 1, 2, and 3. We usually do odd numbers because that helps, I guess, create some kind of balance and draws the eye in. I'm not sure the whole psychology of the thing, but I'll take their word for it. And it does always kind of look better with 3 or 5 gems. And there's that one already done. So that only took a couple of minutes. And how pretty is that? And again, when we match it up with these envelopes, gorgeous. Little Wink of Stella on there. That would pop that just another little step up. And then the last card in this kit is this one. And again, I'm just going to take the individual pieces here so that I don't accidentally make 3 cards instead of 1, like I did with that first one. All right. So this is why we got the narrow tear and tape. Wherever I put my narrow tear and tape. There it is. So we'll use the narrow because this is going to be just a little too wide. See how that is? So if we put it on there, even if we're really careful, there would be just a smidge of that hanging over. So that's why we got the narrower tape. All right, so the first thing we're going to do here is the Sending Love on our little white piece here, and that already has the outline, so we didn't have to worry about it. And what I've seen other people do is when, I'm going to move this off of here so I can see this better. When they have just a plain white piece like this, and there's no line on there, they'll take like a journaling pen and hand draw a line around that sentiment piece. And it looks really cool. I've not tried it, and I probably should. I'm just afraid I won't have a steady enough hand for it to look nice. But part of it is it does look hand-drawn. And Stampin' Up! Actually has these journaling pens now. I just ordered mine. And they came the other day. And they're just a really nice fine tip. So can you imagine just drawing around the edge of a sentiment piece with the journaling pen and then having whatever sentiment in there highlighted with your journaling pen. So that's kind of cool. All right, side note, back on track. All right, so we have this done. That is the only stamping we do for this card. All right, we're going to go ahead and follow the instructions because Lori has a hard time following instructions sometimes. I just have to find the end of the tear and tape. There it is. And we're going to put that on the back of our sentiment. Not sure why we need tear and tape as opposed to dimensionals, probably because this will probably be on dimensionals. And then we'll go ahead and put tear and tape down here. Now it shows, for whatever reason, on the short sides, having it broken into 2 smaller pieces, and that's probably just to preserve how much tear and tape you use. This one shows it all along the side, pretty much, kind of like 3/4 of the length, just not on the very corners. And then we're almost to the last side. All right, and then the instructions say we need some dimensionals here, and it shows 4 of them. So you can just randomly put those there to kind of hold that whole piece up. And then this piece, and again, this is just another piece where it's a shame to have part of it hidden on the back. So when I do the other 2, I will be cutting those in half and making 2 cards out of it. All right, so now this can go on our card base. Got a piece of lint there. And I don't keep my fingernails real long, so my take your pick tool is oftentimes very helpful to get these backing pieces off, whether it's a dimensional or tear and tape. It helps for me to just use that pokey end and take that off. Now, if you were crooked at all with your tear tape, all you have to do is whatever's hanging over the edge, just like here I had a little bit hanging over the edge, just fold it in over itself and it'll be fine. And then, I don't know if you can see it from there, but when I have this card open, there's a little bit of a white ridge that I can see from the front, so I'm going to flip this over so that that's in the back so that you can't see that white edge here. And then this, according to the instructions, is going to go onto this card base. Now, tear and tape is not always forgiving, so you have to kind of make sure you're lined up where you want it before you press down hard. And I'm pretty low here, so let's see if I can get this lifted up without damaging my card. There we go. That should be a little bit better, I think. Yeah, that's better. I think it's a little crooked, but it's definitely crooked. So let's try this one more time. It's sometimes a challenge when I can't lean my head over the card. I normally stand up when I craft so that I can be over my card or over my project. So since I know this edge is good down here for distance, now I'm going to straighten this out. And now we have it good enough, I guess. I don't know why I'm struggling with this today. Unless something else is just not quite straight. There we go. All right, whew. And then we'll take these off. And this, they've got going like this. And this flower doesn't have a whole lot of detail to it, so maybe that's why they put that there. I'll just put that there. And then this, I'll take that backing off that we put on. And that goes here. And I think I'm going to put just a dimensional under this so it doesn't sink. There we go. All right. And it will help if I take that backing piece off of it. There we go. There. All right, so there's the third card for this kit. And we need just one more little detail, are the embellishments, the gems. Let's see where they are. 1, 2, and 3. So we'll do 1, 2, and 3. All right, and then when we match that up with an envelope, that too is very pretty. All right, so there's our kit. The beautiful blues. All right, so 1, 2, and 3. Which one is your favorite? All right, so card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3. I know what my favorite one is, but I don't want to taint anybody's judgment. So let me know what you think. And that's all I have for you tonight. So until next time, happy crafting.